welcome everyone to the ZebPay Podcast. I think today's conversation is slightly different and honestly a long overdue. I was just telling Ria that because today we are going to discuss women in crypto and not just from the participation lens, but more from say thinking, behavioral, and how the intent is evolving in the last 3 or 4 years. So I thought that because we have like a special initiative as well, I thought it could be more meaningful for me to have this conversation with the women who are actually building in this space. And that's why let me just quickly introduce you all. So we have our head of finance, Vishwa Shah, and head of product, Ria Parakh. So both coming from very, very different perspectives. And I think it will be an interesting conversation. Before we, deep dive into the initiative that we're thinking about, three of us were working on, let's just start with probably your journeys first. So with that, it will be interesting just to know that how did each of you get into crypto and what now I think what it's been more than 4.5 years that I've known you or rather I'm working with you. So what made you stay as well?
Well, thanks, Neha, for making this happen. This is going to be interesting, especially to see the people interested, not just traders, but specifically the women traders and the women investors. I started this journey 2018, and it's been almost 8 years going to be with ZebPay. None of the days were same day for me in ZebPay. It's been always a different day, I mean, different journey to be start with. Started in the traditional finance. Finance always have different roles to play in the different industries. Specifically, when it comes to investment, the accounting side of it, financing side of it, it is very different. So, from the traditional to switching over to digital currency in that era was a very different call. Coming from the stable environment to a different growing environment. So, more of today also we are seeing the lot of steps from the government which is taken towards the regulations of the crypto across the globe, not just India, but across the globe, this is taken through. But for me, it was journey as a chartered accountant, I would call it, a very different and very unique path, which I learned a lot on the blockchain, digital currency, how it works, how the decentralized protocol works, how the centralized thing works, how the fintech industry is moving towards the decentralized, which is a very unique. And that's why it looks like since I had last 8 years, I'm not bored in this industry. So
Eight
that
years,
is brief about me.
8 years is like you're a veteran.
Once, yes.
You're a
I mean,
veteran.
previous my two jobs, like 3 years and 4 years, and I was done because it's like I can't do it this repetitive work over and over for a one company. And that's how I shifted to crypto. But then this has taken a long path. And rather than long path, it has taken a long time for me, which is still emerging. So emerging industry gives you a lot of scope of learning and going towards the new era, how it is coming in. You're given a good platform, yes.
I agree. I agree. I mean, you have to find your own answers. I mean, the questions are also new, and so are the answers are also new. Over to you, Ria.
Okay. Okay, so I got into crypto for two very personal reasons. The first was the sheer scale of opportunity. When I first got in, crypto was still a sunrise industry, especially in India, where everything was still being figured out, right? And that's a very rare career opportunity that I just had to jump in. Internet was born the same year I was born in 1990, around that time. And by the time I was old enough to understand, it had already changed the world. So I was too young to build that, but I knew that now I'm old enough to be a part of crypto sunrise, and I did not want to miss out on this. And the second one was, I think, curiosity, which as a product person and also as a woman, I can't switch off. There was this thing that it's taking the entire world by storm, and I just had to get my hands dirty and understand it. And the problem solving challenge was pulling me in even further. How do you take something so complex and make it simple for everyone? That was very exciting for me. And just, back then there was a big education gap as well, which I think is there today, but it's evolved quite a bit with the conversations that are going on. Because I remember explaining to my friends that, Bitcoin and crypto are not the same thing. Bitcoin is one crypto, like WhatsApp is one app on the internet. They just couldn't get their mind around that. They didn't have that mental model of cryptocurrencies and they just thought that Bitcoin, crypto, same thing. I'm buying crypto, I'm buying Bitcoin. So that was the kind of problem I wanted to help solve to like, get them to understand. And what made me stay, I think is something I feel about more strongly now, that we're not just building product, we are rewriting how people access money and wealth. and how they think about money and wealth. Think about what gold did a few centuries ago. It shaped entire economies, entire livelihoods, entire civilizations. And here we are building the digital age version of that. I think that's what we are doing. Once you start seeing it that way, I think it's very hard to leave. And I think I'm going to be happily stuck here in this industry for a very long, long, long time. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, I get that. For me, what I feel is crypto is something either you come in out of curiosity, or for me, it was more of like a happenstance, or it was just the
Yes.
chance that I kind of entered crypto. But I think, it kind of grows on you over time. And then it's very difficult to explain that why you're here or what has happened. And then there are so many things that have come along the way that it keeps you interested for the long time.
And like Vishwa said, right, every day is different. Like what we saw 5 years ago is like totally different, even in terms of our app, in terms of our company. So it's just totally different.
I agree. And it's all how interesting when I actually heard you both. And I don't know why, like we've discussed this in bits and pieces, all in side conversations, but when I'm listening to both of you like parallelly, it kind of, you're coming from two different perspectives as your starting point. But it's how interesting that you all have stayed on and what now the industry has become and how it is booming. I would say the bigger question is, and which we were discussing, that now when you think of like, women in crypto, be it from the investors, as investors or as an industry, how do you think that the landscape has changed? And do you see more women participating right now? Do you see that there is any change or there is growth or there's a new momentum there?
100%. I think 2018, if I pick up the numbers and if I pick up the numbers of today or over a period, definitely the number would have increased drastically. I mean, 2018 versus 2026, definitely yes. In fact, if I compare 2022 versus 2026, that's a big shift. I mean, big shift you can see in terms of uh, women who are attracted towards this particular class of assets. Rather, more of it's more. In fact, both balance, I would say traders and the hodlers. So people who have seen this asset as a class of investment for a longer period. So there is a very good term crypto investor have started with hodlers, and that we are seeing that that is increasing at a very good pace in the overall industry. Whether it would be us as a ZebPay or overall as a globally investor momentum towards not just equity investments or the SIPs or the gold, but crypto has taken their own place in their uh, financial module, I would say, or financial investment class, I would say. But still, because of the a little bit of no clarity on how does it will happen or how it will be stored, whether it will be safe or not, whether to invest in this class would be my all-time favorite investment or not. But that sort of questions people are still having it, even though the crypto has been for a longer time, especially with ZebPay, it's been 10 years. But that confidence level is little slower picking rather than it should have been now a built that yes, this is a class of asset which I wanted to invest. I should be at least having my 5 or 10% of my asset exposed to this class or not. So those questions are still not people convinced with it, fully confident or not convinced why they should have their asset. But still, we are seeing that there is a quite good amount of people who
Growth
are
in the market share of women investors, but not, you're saying not as much as you would have expected it to be.
expected, right? So, like internally, if I talk about the women's in our office would have been attracted to this class of us, it would be higher, right? And compared to the people who would be outside. And wherever we go and wherever we speak to others, there also they find that yes, they want to do it, they are curious to do it. They really think that this should be our one of the asset class, but then they are not sure how to do it, where to do it, what to do it, or whether it is a safe investment or not. So all of that questions are going to be going. I mean, with us having ZebPay or any other exchange, they would definitely able to help them out. And over a period, we have seen a very good pace in crypto investors, especially women investors. They are now not just uh, leading traders or the investor, but they are also building this community over a period. That this Web3 is the pace where they wanted to go forward.
That's actually a good hook that you've like brought up. And Ria, from your end, I wanted to know from more from like the industry perspective. Do
Mm.
you see the role of women participating in this ecosystem has gone up or has changed?
I think it has changed in a couple of ways, right? So first is it's become from passive to intentional, right? So what happens is that the shift is not only in terms of numbers, but it's like what are they doing here? So let's say, for example, on the ZebPay app, quality of engagement has changed. They are like, they are women who are, they're not just coming and signing up or just looking around. They are trading on the exchange, they're setting up SIPs, they're investing in crypto pads. And this is all in addition to their traditional portfolio, which they have in equity or debt or real estate. So they are actively, deliberately building their portfolio. And that's the behavior that is kind of getting showcased. That crypto asset class is coming into, their view of investments. I think that's where that shift is also happening, where they are recognizing this as profitable, sustainable, long-term investment plan. And one more thing that I can say is I think there's another shift from acquisition to retention. When we talk about like women are not just entering, they are staying. Like ZepPay user woman has been with us for almost 7 years, which is, really mind boggling. It's not a trend. For the woman user is conviction, the conviction to stay. They're disciplined. They've been with us through bull runs, through bear markets.
Long term
They're
mindset.
there with us for a long term.
Yeah.
And I think the third last point is that they have it's a geography part, that it's not only Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, but we are seeing like Pune, other tier two cities. It's not an urban elite story anymore. It's much wider, much more democratic. Um, People are more engaged, more committed, and more widespread. I think that is where I think the landscape has changed and where we are seeing this difference.
I agree. I agree. Right now, actually, I think for past couple of years, a lot of obviously women are naturally becoming very serious about independent, investing on their own. And traditionally speaking, also women generally are more research focused. So whenever they kind of take a decision, they're there to stay. So I think that kind of reflects, like on the numbers that we are seeing on our database as well.
And they're
Now,
very disciplined, that
yeah.
we will do this. It's for our financial independence, our financial investments.
Yes. Yes.
So 2018, I think people who would have entered, especially women who would have entered, definitely they would have entered with a curiosity. Let's see what will happen to our money. Let's see if it will grow or not. But definitely today, if they see their money, it would be like exponential investment, which they would have done it over a period, and that would be the best investment in fact.
And that's exactly what I think has happened, that it's gone from passive to intentional. That, people used to come and, okay, let me check it out. Let me see, just put 500,000. And now it's like, okay, I want to grow my money. How do I do it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, do you all think, and this question is specifically for Vishwa, but then Ria, you can chime in whenever. Like, do you see that like we spoke about like how women are doing more research and they're here to stay and curiosity is there and all that. And speaking of discipline as well, like that's an important angle. Do you see like there's a difference or there's like a behavior shift between like a salaried and a business professional with respect to investments?
I would start with a simple word of confidence, actually. So earlier, as I said, it is building over a curiosity. Now people, especially women's, they have now built portfolio over a confidence because now they are able to see that yes, this is a class of asset which I could invest whatever percentage of my saving, and I can really trust to that particular class of asset. Digital currency is building, especially Bitcoin, Ether, Solana. Few assets are very famous, and we have seen that women are more attracted towards the name saying Bitcoin Gold. Bitcoin is equals to gold, right? I mean, like that's the emotions we females have that, and then over a period, that confidence have built. When it comes to salaried people or a business class, both of them, I would call it. Earlier, there was a mentality that okay, whatever is left with you in a real estate or a gold, that's the two major shift. In fact, equity market was not also used to be a women's preference at that period. 10 years back, I would call it. Not talking about the ease era, but yes, still ease era as well. So equity market was not that promising market for them. Women's were not preferring that. They wanted to have gold and real estate, majorly gold. I mean, they would like to have the gold, which is
Yes.
still in the, and they will still be happy with seeing that building or piling up the gold in the locker. But nowadays, that shift has seen that not just gold, not just equity, not just real estate, women are interested in investing in digital asset with the planning, with budgeting, and with the proper allocation. They're thinking. It's like my risk appetite, I'll be thinking, okay, my risk appetite is okay this much, which is I'm okay if they give me a negative return for certain times. But yes, going forward after 5 years, I'll see a good returns. This is the money which I don't want for particular period. This is the capital which I really wanted to see after 10 years or after 15 years for my kids or for my family or for myself. But women's have shifted their planning, not just, investing blindly, but it is with the planning, with the budgeting, and with the proper allocation, and not just leftover, but yes, what exactly I wanted after 10 years, what exactly return I'm looking after for setting such asset. So
It's
that's
it's
how
an
I'm seeing,
informed. It's an in
very informed, very mindful, very such
Mature
decision
decision as well, you know.
thought, there is a critical thought behind it, whether it is their own or maybe guided by their service providers or whatsoever. But yes, people have become a little bit smarter in this era. Obviously, AI is
help.
knocking off or all of us our door, but this is the period which not just AI with the help of AI, but by themselves, by internally, their mindset has also changed toward the investment.
Yes. And, because of like coming to taking a note from this informed decision, Ria, this is to you. Do you want to throw some light on how are women users, they are building their portfolio?
Yeah.
So I want an insight in terms of like, obviously, everybody started off that, when it comes to crypto, everybody thinks, of Bitcoin. And that is truth. I mean, this is the truth of this industry. And rightfully so as well. It is one of the most, it's a gold standard asset class and it is here to stay. And it is the very first crypto asset. So, rightfully so. And we are again Bitcoin May Pro. But apart from that, when they're looking at a holistic portfolio, I want an insight as to how are women investors looking at it? Is it like, do you see like they are considering Bitcoin as a whole and soul investment or it's getting diversified? Or what's their research there? That is something that I'm curious about.
Got it. I think that how women, and I'm talking about me as well, right? Because this is something that I think about all the time. That I think we follow a very deliberate path, right? That this is what I want to do. This is what my, like Vishwa mentioned, right? This is my risk appetite. A lot of thought and decision making is going into that. Not just to give you some numbers, because this is what comes out of the data we have, right? So, like the average portfolio holding for each woman is around 3 lakhs, okay, which is in India, it's not a very small amount. The average order size is around 40,000, means these women have the power of making a decision to put their money somewhere. And 40,000 is a large amount. If an
It's a
average order size
reasonable
is
amount. It's
40,000,
definitely not like a low number.
exactly. And if like there are people who are like earning 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 1 lakh a month, to put in that kind of an amount is that, they are very strategically thinking that how much percentage return is this going to give me? No, they're not testing waters. They've come here, they want to invest, they want a growth, and that's what we are, kind of looking for. The second thing, again, going back to the reason I'm trying to get these insights from our product, because I have that data, trying to pull out the data from our product and then apply it to a woman's real life, how they must be thinking. So one thing is that women start on quick trade, which is a simple one click, intuitive, low friction solution. Then as their confidence grows, they start going towards the exchange, which is once they're there, they're watching order books, they're placing intentional trades, they're not accidentally investing again, they are making a plan. So if they are so structured within our product, which I am tracking, they are very structured and disciplined in their lives. They know that, okay, we want to go from something. Maybe they came in like, we want to do 1% of our portfolio in crypto. And that's what the advice normally people like some investment platforms, they give an advice that, you should invest about 1% of your portfolio in crypto. And they're taking that and kind of modifying it. And we're seeing that in our platform as well. And another thing, like you mentioned, right? Like they're going into SIPs, mutual funds in, different areas outside of crypto. And how I see that is because of the way I'm seeing how they're investing in crypto. So what we've seen is the asset mix that they invest in shows real sophistication. How that happens is, let's say there are a top few coins women invest in, and that is very telling of the nature of investing in general. So for example, Bitcoin is one of the top coins. They're doing it for long-term conviction. Then USDT has a stable buffer coin. They're actively managing risk. Then they have Matic, XRP, Tron. They know that diversification is important. They're diversifying even within crypto. It's like crypto as well as within crypto. And they're not just buying one thing and just hoping, that, okay, something will come out of it. They're actually understanding the architecture of a portfolio and they're building basis that. So the short answer is that, they don't just stumble into portfolios. They are building them very consciously and strategically, whether it's in crypto or outside.
Wow.
That's what I have
I mean,
got.
that's, like at the face of it, obviously, when we started this conversation, and otherwise also, when you see so many reports, you see that, okay, the market share of women investors is so low. But one thing is very clear, the market share is low, but the one who've entered, they are doing like a very thorough job. Even like the portfolio bifurcation that you've just spoken about, that's like different types of risk planning. It's a planned investment. It's not sporadic for sure.
And I think that's innate in us as women as well, right? Women are a lot more, they think a lot more, they plan a lot more,
They're more systematic.
they're more systematic. And then I think that kind of shows in their investing style, whether crypto or otherwise.
Yeah. It's not it's not a hasty decision that a woman would take with their her money is something which is it's a serious thing to say. Another, like, because now we are discussing stats and both of you can, tell me, like, is there any observation with respect to, like, generally whenever you talk about crypto, the immediate reaction I've seen from people is like, oh, it's you, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of young people going for it. There is, like, a lot of people who are starting off would be investing and all of that. So throw some light on that as well. What's, when you talk about age groups, what are you seeing? I mean, I would say that people who have money to take that risk definitely should be or would be investing. But correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's fully contrary to what you would think, right? Because when you actually look at the data, a very clear picture comes. It's like a core
Yes.
woman investor is between 31 to 45 years of age, which is about 60%, 70% of our overall users. But this 31 to 45 is peak earning years, peak decision making years. Whatever we've been talking about, they're not first time investors. They know how to use a savings account. They know how to invest. They're not first time. They understand. They're very mature in their ways. They have a stable income. They have traditional assets.
They have wealth creation ideas that how they want to
They have
create their wealth over a period.
exactly. And they have, the one thing that these 31 to 45-year-olds have seen is they've lived through multiple crypto market cycles. So they've seen Bitcoin go from thousands to lakhs to crore and even go back down. And they still want to invest. It's a very different kind of experience of an investor when you see, some market like that. Like it going up, down, but they're more conscious, they're more disciplined, they're more focused on the longer game. I think that is where this 31 to 45 comes
I
in.
think, see, that is again considering, somebody has stayed in the market for so long. But I think investments also, by then you have, well, I mean, your consistency in the way your income is planned. Like, you've pretty much decided which is your career path, or like what line of business are you into. So that's where your stable income is, and you get into thinking of that. Okay, now I want to think long term, or now I want to get into wealth creation mindset. So I
Yes.
think that also kind of reflects. Having said that, I would say that the younger group, like, 20 to 30, would be more open for sure. But I'm guessing their goals are different. They want to kind of test. It's like, okay, let me just,
Yes.
invest minimal maybe.
That's
Yes.
what I was coming to. It was difference between the long time holding and then getting your return, like an SIP where equity markets and SIPs are there. I think there also people have seen the trend that people all starts early, especially women starts before 30. In fact, there like 30, 35 is the age over there also. We see there's a lot of women interested into equity SIPs by that age. And the similar trend we are also noticing because I think that age becomes critical when it comes to your own financial freedom. Because you are also thinking in that line that after 20 years, what will be my savings, where I would be spending, what outcomes I want to get it from my current investments and saving cycles. So I think by 30, you are already mature enough to take those decisions. And 25 to 30 is more of kind of a trial and error period and where you would like to attract towards over quick money and then but that normally doesn't last for long. But those are still a type of investment people do that for certain smaller chance. But
I think the
majority of it,
priorities are also different there, right?
yeah,
Like when
and the
you're a
majority
18,
of them
20,
do not get
25
that
years old.
outcome and then gets vanished. But yeah, the steady investment, which is on over a period and hodler mindset, is it's a quite visible from the data actually statistics wise in people age between 31 to 45 that 15 years of your time span is the best time span where you try to experiment a lot of different investment modules. And there we see a lot of attraction. In fact, our major chunk is from there.
So, like right now, how much ever we've spoken, it definitely points to one thing that, you need to get women users to a point to start their journey. Once they've started off, then everything is very intuitive, be it like navigating through the app, taking the investment decision, building their portfolio, sticking through the market overall. Like it's not a hasty decision. It's like having their own learnings and looking at a long term, like a well researched mindset. But I think the major gap or the barrier today is not probably investing in crypto. I think it's more like starting off. I think to take that first step is like a major problem. And that is something, I mean, I'm saying it, but I'm sure you guys have also experienced it. Whenever we talk to like friends or relatives, or even our colleagues for that matter, it's that first step which is like the difficult, like the step for them to kind of overcome or to kick off their journey.
So very, very personal statistic rather than personal information I would share here. 2018, May 2018, I joined ZebPay. Definitely my one of the agenda was I want to start investing in any of the coins. Say that time Matic Polygon was very famous and then Bitcoin was always there and Ether definitely putting up. But majority Matic and Bitcoin were very famous. It took me almost 6 months to 8 months to convince myself that okay, I really want to do it investment because first of all, I'm into this industry now. I'm working with some company where I have the good insight, and then I try to convince myself, yes, we can do this as well. If I'm talking about myself sitting in this industry, definitely I can think about the people who are just listening to us, and then they're thinking about how to do it and what to do it and when to do it. But yes, it's a very what you call a critical decision making point where where you want to trust someone and then invest. At the time of equity SIP, we think right which mutual fund to select. That also takes a little bit of time for us, and then we what do we do is obviously we build on somebody else's advisory, and then we just put it like okay fine, you तू बोल रहा है तो सब सही होगा. That is the mindset. But nowadays, since the globally recognized 2, 3 coins are so much of popular, like Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, few others, that has taken at least a position in everybody's mind that yes, they can expose somewhat percentage towards it. In 2020, my journey has really started well. Over the past 6 years, I have seen my return or my portfolio has grown exponentially, which is good. I mean, like whatever you want to put it. I'm not saying we would put in 100% of our saving. Nobody will take that such call. But there is always a diversified call has to be taken, whether you want to put it 10%, 5%, 1% of your saving, that is also fine. But you have to start somewhere. Whenever you start, you will see and build your confidence after that. You really have to see the return.
Right.
So that's the mindset.
Right. Vishwa, coming back to like, I mean, buy, sell options, that's still say an evolved way, kind of enter the crypto market. Or, but say, let's just take a step back and think of investing. Just, I've seen like there is a huge mindset shift, right? People were like, oh, should I do it? And now the question it's more of like how to do it. So that's like a massive positive shift that I'm seeing in the last 4 years since the time I have been part of this industry. So now to kind of to ease into how to do it, or and this is something I remember three of us also spoke about as to how do we make it like if we are hearing this and we are like say women in crypto, how can we make it easier for the other women today. I mean, I would say people who are listening or seeing us. How do you think, like, as ZebPay, how can we take, we do something for women out there, like play a small part to help them take like the first step in their journey. From the discussion that we've had for so long, one thing is very, very clear, like be it like our own experiences, like from our friends or families or like even our colleagues, and more or less like going back with the actual stats or looking at our database as well, we've seen that like all the investors, especially women investors, we've seen that once they start their journey, then they are there for the long term. They're able to take their decisions, they're able to build their portfolios, they're doing their research, that they're thinking long term, they're having a balanced approach. But the major barrier in this right now, or say in this journey right now, which we are seeing, is the starting point. everyone has like a very strong intent, and which I spoke about, right? Like today there is a huge mindset shift that we are seeing. Previously, like 4 years back, 3 years back, people used to ask questions, are should I do it? Is it okay to do it? And today, like there were more of that. Now, less of those questions, but more of questions like, how do I do it? How do I start investing in Bitcoin? Is there anything else more than Bitcoin? So it's more on how. But that is that gap. The starting point is the difficult step in the crypto journey, is what I've seen. So, what do you think? Like, all three of us play our part, or a small part, I would say, in helping women start their journey today. So,
I would call it there are two, three aspects. Rather, people when they start their journey with any of the investment platforms. One is they look after the performance of the asset class they have already seen. Now they want to get their assurance that okay, if I do it with some platform, whether my money is secure or not, whether it's easy for me to do it or not, the experience over a period, which says that people want an easy aspect towards learning something new. So when we give a platform which is available at an easy way, like they just do a quicker KYC, they just download app, do a quicker KYC, put some money and buy certain comps. And then they regularly see their portfolio how it is happening, whether it is doing good, whether it is doing bad, whatever it is. So people now like to see that everything real time. Coming back to us, that how we can help them is we have built a good product. We are giving them a good place to start with, like a small SIP, maybe a small bucks, which is like 200 rupees to 5,000 rupees, something between like that. They can start with it. Not just that, nowadays, now because we wanted to promote, especially women who are taking a decisions toward starting their journey towards this new path. So we are giving them a 20% off as well, which is a reduction in their cost of acquisition, which will definitely give them a better confidence now. And also the first time investor. When you're a first time investor, you have a 10 in their mind that okay, 1 लाख रुपए का buy कर रही हो तो कितना खर्चा लगेगा, क्या लगेगा, whether it is secure or not, whether I'm going to right platform or not. I think pretty good answers we are able to give it into our in-app what you call the experience, or over maybe social media experience. You can also see that. But not just talking about peace, it is beyond peace. What we want to really build is as a ZPay, really bigger shift, which we are thinking that as a women who can start their journey, build their own confidence, start their talking towards their financial freedom, and build a portfolio over a period. So this is not just about the participation or the fees reduction, but this is more towards encouraging women towards the consistent participation over a period, over a few decades, where they can see that not just the welcoming point was good, but over a period, their journey was also beautiful.
And I think that once a user experiences, once they come in with, once they experience crypto packs or they set up their first SIP or they make their first quick trade, I think they stay. That's what the data has also told us. They stay. They stay for 7 years. And this key initiative is about getting that woman to that first experience. After that, the woman's mature and sophisticated investing mindset does the rest of the work, while they are on our product.
I agree. Like I said, something as a platform, what we can do, and this is the part that we can play to handhold or to take their first step. Eventually, it's their personal choice and their own independent decision. But I think this is a very strong, like small step for women out there to start their journey. And like Vishwa said, that it's going to be make like a material difference in the next 10 years when they are going to see their journey, when there are different phases in life that are going to evolve with time. Now, with that, I just want to take there are like just last two questions. First, like one of them is that people who've not yet taken their small step, obviously there's an offer standing there, but what would be your advice? Like, if they've not started as yet, what is that one advice which you think you can give them?
Okay, so I think that what we should do, and this is what I did personally as well, right? Start with an amount that you're comfortable with. Remove that emotional weight that I will lose this money or something. It's not because of that. It's not that you will lose the money. Just start small, just 500,000. Just start. Start somewhere small. And I think that would give you the confidence to continue this journey with crypto.
I think for what like I'll just add more color to it. I think in life, we always think, okay, once I'm prepared, or once, there is always that once that we kind of give an excuse to ourselves that, okay, once I'm ready, I'm going to do this. I think there is no right time to just start for multiple things. For you
Correct.
to get the answer also that, will I succeed in this? Is it really going to help
Correct.
me? Because there is a lot of otherwise like mental overload that you do to yourself. So I think when it comes to investments also, like maybe to this question, the answer is like just start. I mean, and you can, this is also one of the assets which I would say you can start small. It's not that you have to buy like one full Bitcoin. Be it like when we are talking about our SIPs also, crypto packs also, you can really start small. You're talking about
Yes.
like thousands here. And
I think I think that is also beauty of the coins. I mean, virtual digital
exactly.
asset. You don't have to buy full. You can buy of whatever amount is comfortable with you, and
Yes.
over a period, you can really build to full.
Yes. And today, considering, like the standard lifestyle that we see today, the way we are obviously investing or like we are using money overall, starting small here not really creating like a big hole in your pocket as well. So I think the short answer to this is like, just start, and then the learning will happen in your journey. Like it will happen over time. Once you like enter, then you will learn on your own. Once you see the app, once you see your portfolio, once you learn about it more, once you get a lot of literature from our end as well, right, in terms of blogs, in terms of FAQs and notifications and stuff like that, you learn along the way. So I think, I mean, just starting is the whole and soul of it. Now, like say once, if I just like zoom out, I ask you guys to like, okay, apart from investing and all of that, looking ahead, how do you see the role of women evolving in crypto and overall Web3 ecosystem? This is also this is one of the very important questions for me, apart from investing as well. Like when you think of like women in crypto, how do you see our role evolving in this ecosystem as well?
So I think where we are now, right, we can see that something is shifting. It's going from like quiet participation to visible momentum. And this is not just in investing. This is about talking about, your crypto portfolio or talking about what's happening in this space. It's just that conversation is happening at dinner tables, in offices, in WhatsApp groups. That confidence is coming out in the open. And, that is where I'm seeing this shift. And again, this is not about investing. It's about everything in product, in design, marketing, in
Ria
business
is also a
development.
user, and Ria is also a good product builder for us. So it's not just users, but we are builders. We've not seen how this product is going to be built, but over the 10 years, we have built this beautiful product, right? We have not seen how this participation is going to be there, whether it's people going to not like, work, not work. Then over a period, this is built, right?
And what is also different is like, I think in the future, or even now, it's already started. It's first time the ownership is built into the technology. The wallet doesn't know your gender, a token doesn't know your salary. It's just access is equal by design. Anyone can come in anywhere, participate in it, irrespective of what your background is or who you are or where you're coming from. It's inclusivity and accessibility to all. And I think that is what makes it, um, interesting and exciting for the future.
I agree. Also, I would say, like, going ahead, say, considering 3 years or 4 years, think about it. We are from like a cryptocurrency exchange today. Three of the heads are women. So I feel that is also a participation to kind of give us like a shout out about. And like that, I'm seeing that this industry growing in, not in terms of in its own development as to how it's going to be like a parallel, like financial ecosystem, but at the same time, I mean, I'm seeing like a lot of women becoming like the decision makers, like these like business teams, weak like financial teams, like regulations and laws and products and designs and marketeers and websites. So I think it's going to like evolve from multiple sectors. Investments is one part of it, but also as a career choice, also as somebody like us taking the decisions in the long run. So I think it's a good move, like momentum to be in right now from the career perspective as well, for all like the budding women out there, I would say.
And I think another significant shift I hope to see in the future is that maybe in 5 years' time, I don't think we'll have podcasts and panels about women in crypto. We'll
I,
just be calling them investors in crypto,
yes,
Yes.
yes, absolutely.
significant personalities in crypto, or something like that. So I
Ex-
think that's also somewhere we're going towards, and
exactly.
it will happen in the near future.
Exactly. And I'm happy that all of us are part of I would say that moment right now.
Yes.
It's the end of it. I mean, that's all that for all of us today. What stood out for me today is that this isn't just about getting more women into crypto. I think this is about making this space more accessible, more understandable, and rather more inclusive. And I strongly believe that that's how this category is going to grow, not just through awareness, but through trust and participation. And because of such conversations or this initial nudge, if more women are going to feel confident about taking that first step, then I confidently feel that this a meaningful shift. That's it. So thank you for joining us today. And for all the women out there who've been like curious about this and who've been thinking or planning to take that first step, maybe this is just a nudge.